Mm.
Hey there, welcome to saas.unbound podcast. I'm your host, Anna Dana, head of growth at SaaS Group. Serial acquire buying wonderful SaaS businesses to take them to the next level. And here I chat with inspiring founders and experts to get an inside scoop on how they made their business success. And today here with me is Karsten, founder of Morningscore, a gamified SEO tool that simplifies optimizing your website. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you.
I was talking to some of my colleagues, and they know Morningscore.
Oh,
They weren't very familiar with you, but they were like, "It's the guy in a spacesuit. You have to get him."
yeah, sure. I got it. I got it right here. Actually, there's a spacesuit.
Oh wow, shiny!
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, you have time to change if you want.
Oh, yeah. I could actually, if you
That's
think it would
fine.
make.
Totally fine. But happy to see you here. Let's get to your background maybe first.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So I'm born in southern Denmark, almost Germany. So I do speak a bit of German too. And I've since high school been doing business. My first business failed completely. It was with high school friends. We went to America. We burned a lot of money because that was the idea of success back then. It's like, okay, if you're gonna have two rents, like in Denmark and in America, we're probably gonna get rich, right? Like, but it didn't work out, and yeah. So, but we didn't actually bankrupt. We decided we borrowed money from parents, so we decided we're gonna somehow make a way to pay back the money, and that was like building websites for people because we were technical, so we could do that. So we did like that for many years actually, and just while we were studying at university we were doing that. So studying was part-time and building websites and building that business was more or less full-time. And actually it's a business today. There are around 45 50 people. It's Morning Train. It's the first business I co-founded, and I was CEO of for many years, and they're doing really fine today. So that's kind of like my entry. And but I always wanted to build a product. That's what I dream about. So Morningscore came from that desire. Like I told the other guys in the business, look, guys, I love this business, but I need to be building a product. Yeah. So and SEO, which is what our product is about. We're an online tool to help people rank higher on Google, and that's actually came out of my own fascination with SEO. I'm a huge fan of SEO. It's kind of very personal to me because as I started my business, I didn't feel like there was much I could figure out or do. I didn't have a high self esteem. And SEO, I think, was the first thing in my life really that where I was like, wow, I can figure this out. Like I started ranking really high on very important terms for an agency in Denmark. I was like, wow, I'm good at this for the first time. And that felt really great. And I was like, of course, I'm going to start an SEO tool after that to help other people get the same feeling. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. First of all, there is some fascination with morning, I feel like,
Yeah.
just judging by the name.
Yeah. We have a lot of morning companies. This is just two of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool. But the first businesses you mentioned, it was an agency, right? So how was your transition from, kind of constantly being there chasing the clients and making sure you stay on top of everything and maybe, chasing that dynamic, like more people means more projects, and then more projects means more people, and like it's a
Yeah.
constant, kind of chasing after one or the other
Yeah.
to maybe a calmer, and correct me if I'm wrong, setup with the product.
Yeah. So that's correct. I mean, it's so different to be running a SaaS than an agency. And I don't want to downplay running an agency because, especially now, it's really hard. But in the years where I started out, so in you could say the boom years from 10 to 19, when I was really part of, like I was CEO of that business, those were the years where it kept growing. And in those years, I don't think you have to be a genius to start an agency. You have to be smart, but you don't have to be a genius. And I feel like as I entered the SaaS stage around 2018, you almost have to be a genius to do well because the market is saturated in SaaS, and it's so hard to build a great product. I mean, I feel I was pretty good at the agency game, but I got knocked out in the SaaS game in many rounds because it's just so hard. And that's actually partly why I like it. It's an amazing challenge. I don't know
Cool.
if it answered your question, but I do agree to the dynamics you just spoke about. That was one of the challenges in the agency business, but it's a bit more like straightforward. You know, you have this problem and then you solve it. With SaaS, it's more like you're in the dark and you have to find a way to light.
Hmm. How did the idea to gamify the product come to you?
Oh, I didn't actually have that idea. We just started building a product, and I'm a gamer, so I'm a big fan of Nintendo and old school gaming, and so as we built the product, I just insisted that it was a bit fun. But then some customers caught up on that, and they were like, "Carson, you're building a game, a computer game, a strategy game, and it's like, that's what you're doing." And I was like, "What? Okay." So the customers started putting that on us, and then we just went all in on that. So we actually just released yesterday a big version, 3.9, that's even more gamification. And we're going to keep going all in on that because we realize people really love that and it helps them grow. So why not?
Yeah, sure. And I mean, that's just something I heard you say on another podcast is that still part of the revenue comes from a service. So can you,
No, no, that's not true. We have 99% of our revenue is coming from subscriptions. So
okay.
maybe I missaid something, but that this is the truth.
Now this is the truth.
Yeah, on this podcast we're going to be truth. No, I'm always truth.
All right, cool. Okay, again, something we're going to um, reveal if everything I've heard in other podcasts is true. But another thing that you said there was the fact that you have real human interaction with all your customers, so you're not really implementing any AI. It's not like a bot chatting with you. You're really
No.
serious about like having a person behind your chat. Why is that? And do you plan to add a layer of, some automation where, you're chatting with ChatGPT basically?
Oh, we're planning on a lot of AI stuff, but actually the chat experience we want to keep it strictly human, even as AI gets as good as humans, because our brand is to be humans and to be real and really honest with our customers and like their friends in a way. And I don't feel like we can do that if we have a AI chat. It just doesn't work. We are People choose us because we can teach them SEO and make them good at it, but they also choose us because they want to be part of like you know this crazy ride that is Morningscore, and I feel like we have to be real people interacting with those customers, which is also why I don't have some student sitting on the chat. I have really smart people who could be head of SEO or something doing that job, and I pay them more than you would pay your average. But it's like the point is, this is who we are. We also say on our website, you can always just reach out to us, you can call us, you can do whatever. We want to be very anti SaaS on this one because that personal touch is just, maybe it's not a smart business move, maybe it's dumb, I don't know, I don't care because I want to run a company like that, so that's important to me.
I'm not going to try and tell and give you an advice because I remember again, nerd alert. Listened to a few of your podcasts. You said somewhere that you're not taking advice from people who are not in your niche and not in your price range. So I'm keeping it to myself. But but yeah, you mentioned that people can call you. Do people actually call? Like this is a legit
Every
question.
day
Like
someone calls our company phone line, and buys or asks for help, or
mm,
yeah, every day.
every day.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. People still talk on the phone.
Yeah, a lot of people, and not just like 50-year-old people. It's also like young people, like some people. I think something I also learned too late is like, I thought everyone hated demos, like product demos. I thought
Mm.
everyone hated like talking to people, but not everyone is like semi introvert like me. Some people just like talking, so let them have a phone they can call in.
I mean, I like talking, but sometimes when I think, I want to call this company and actually like talk to them, like listen to how they explain stuff and like get to like what
Mm,
their process is, I feel like maybe they don't like talking. They have, you know,
yeah, Yeah, but that's just because I don't know what's wrong. Actually, we joke about this internally. Like sometimes we call our customers as well, or potential customers, to ask if they want to be, like leads that sign up, and we find their phone numbers. And very often we call their phone number, and it's like, customer facing phone number, and they don't pick up. And I'm like, okay, if you don't pick up your phone, how are your customers going to buy from you? So I think, like I always say, that it's the easy things that we don't do well, or the simple things that we don't do well in companies. And one of them is just picking up our phone and being nice to people. I mean, come on, how hard can it be?
Yeah.
Uh, yeah,
All right, cool. As far as I know, you also had raised a bit of a money for
yeah.
Morningscore. Why did you decide to go that way? Why not bootstrap? Because I think you had quite a bit of people coming for, for the free product. Why not, after putting a price tag on it, just continue bootstrapping?
Oh yeah, this is really a. I don't know how to answer this in a very short way. I'll try.
Don't. You have all the time.
Yeah, but you're just like opening Pandora's box here, because it's the whole history we have. So first of all, I don't think we would be where we are today if we would have bootstrapped 100%, because it's just engineers. They don't work for free. And of course, and also, when I started this business, I was in my late 20s. And I think you can bootstrap easily if you're like university student and you have your technical co-founder who can code, and you can pay yourself peanuts. But at this point in my life, running a second business, I knew I had to pay people. I didn't have the university network anymore where I could just find cheap labor. Of course, I found some young students who came in as interns, and there were some great hires there. But just the cost of being in your 30s is just, you can't pay people peanuts. So, and SaaS is very much, this, it's upfront investment, and then you reap the reward later. So for me, it was like, okay, the only thing I could see we had to do was to get an investor. But we never took VC money, and we have been quite frugal about things. So it's not like I think we have, like, some people would say it's a lot, some people would say it's a little, but we got like 1.5 million euros total in funding, including loans so far. So yeah, depending on who you talk to, that's a lot, or very little. If I talk to a
Okay.
VC, they're laughing at me and they're like, "Wow, could you grow this fast with that little money? Wow."
Yeah.
Over there they're printing money like no tomorrow. But if I talk to some small angel investor, they would say it's a lot. So but in any case, we did take it because I didn't see a path towards 100% bootstrap. And to be honest, since 2022, we have been more or less bootstrapping, because we haven't taken any funding since 2022, which has been challenging, because we used to fund our growth with external
Mhm.
capital, and then suddenly, not by choice but more like market condition, we decided, okay, we have to fire half the staff, and now we're just going to be semi bootstrapping. So that's what we've been doing ever since, and now we're actually fundraising again.
Mhm.
And I'm not going out to make some huge round. I'm actually just securing funding for the scaling of our app, or tool, because we're struggling on engineers. Like we really need one, like a DevOps engineer, to join the team. And with current growth, I can see that's going to happen in 1 year, if we don't get funding. And 1 year of like, hey, we can't grow anymore because our servers can't handle the growth, is a bit tough to swallow. And
Yeah.
also to get some stability into the company, and some steady, just a filled up bank account would be nice for once, and run a bit more conservative show. So that's the
Mhm.
reason we're going out to get funding, but we don't want to do VC or anything like that.
Okay, that makes sense. Let's come back to, firing half of the staff. And I know that also has something to do with the fact that you wanted to pivot a bit more towards sales-led growth. And I want to know more how you were doing it. Were you kind of trying to go all the way, or adding the sales motion to your POG? And yeah, why you think it didn't work?
Yeah, so the full history, we used to be fully self-service, so totally product led. And honestly, in the beginning, we were doing marvelous job of marketing our product. we've done some stuff that I've never seen anyone else do or since do, which was, for example, creating this very visual experience where when you signed up for a trial, you could see that we had 2,000 spots. And if you signed up, you could see the spot number went down. So like, okay, now there's only like, let's say 499 left out of, the 2,000. And we really, you could say, gamified the whole sign up and become part of the beta experience in a very, in my opinion, great way. And we did manage to get 4,000 beta testers in a very short amount of time. And I think at least for an SEO tool, that's world record in how fast we did it. And that was all like PLG model, product led. So we were really good at that and just doing marketing. But I got convinced by, don't want to go into all of the history, but certain people around me that we should go more in a sales led motion around 2021. And honestly, that has led to 2 dark years for the company. We should never have done that. We should have kept going with the PLG model. We wanted to grow faster, and we got some cash coming in from a loan, and we were like, okay, let's spend this on hiring, salespeople and start cold calling people, and let's get fire under this. And it just ended up like destroying our SaaS metrics. So the LTV CAC went through the roof, and in a bad way, not in a good way. And yeah, it just wasn't. I started feeling like I'm not good at sales. I don't know how to build a sales led company. And I just started feeling losing control of the company. And eventually that led to firing most of the salespeople. And it wasn't fun, by the way. It was a very tough time. And then since that time around end of 2022, we've been back on the product led growth game. And so last year, we more or less spent the entire year just like fully getting into the product led gear again. And this year, we're like starting to seriously grow again and see the benefits of that. So when I talk to investors, it's also a challenge that we had like this year where we only grew 20%, which was last year because, we had to shift model and we were bootstrapped. So it did take some energy out of the race or, the growth. But I think eventually it was exactly the right decision. Yeah.
Mhm. What were the mistakes that you made when you introduced the sales motion? Was it just the fact that you've never done it? Was it the fact that maybe the product wasn't completely ready to go after like
Yeah,
say bigger?
I still haven't. Maybe there is a way you can do sales led if you're selling a product that costs, where the average MRR per client is 60 euros a month. Maybe there is a way, but we never found it, and most other SaaS companies never find it either. And I think most advisors in this space would say you need to at least have an average MRR per customer of around 200 euros a month before you can go sales led fully. So to be fair, right now we have a hybrid model. So I still do have salespeople on. You could say more customer success, but a few salespeople that take the best leads that come inbound and offer them a trial. So we don't do any outbound activity, and we don't even do any like classic sales, but it's more like offering the best trials, personal tour. And then we do actually manage often to sell 2 or 3 year deals, so that actually for every salesperson we have, they more than pay for their own, they more than pay for their own salary and revenue, like 2, 3x per month.
Mhm.
So it's not a bad model, and the unit economics works out like that. But yeah, it's just versus the old times where we would have like 6 salespeople, and that's all we did. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, thank you. Okay. Well, I just want to come back to again when you said you had your first 4,000 beta users real quick, and I wonder, the gamification is great. I saw the tool and it looks amazing, really like fun to
Thanks.
use, and I kind of hate SEO to be honest,
You're
but
perfect client.
yes.
Um,
It was fun even for me, but yeah, it's one thing, have a great product. And I'm just back from a technical conference where we were trying to kind of expand that narrative about the fact that building for you guys is great. Like you can do it in your sleep. It's the selling and the marketing that is kind of what you have to take care of. So I wonder how you did it, like how you went after those users, I guess, right?
yeah.
And where you found them.
Yeah, so it's 2018 we're talking here, so I'm going to try to summarize it as best as I remember it. But honestly, just being very aggressive. And that's actually something I think a lot about lately. I'm going to get back into the tactics in just a second, but Honestly, the number one thing I think about, especially in Europe, that us founders are not good at is being aggressive. If you look at the Americans or Chinese or whatever, they're always super aggressive. And so what we did was I went out to my LinkedIn network, all of them, and all wrote a message to all of them saying, "Hey, I launched this startup. Sign up for the beta here." So first of all, reach out to everyone I knew, email everyone I knew, call a lot of people I knew, find partners that could push this. I said, "Hey, it's a beta. It's free. Wouldn't you want to push this in your newsletter, like different online marketing newsletters?" So just being very aggressive. Back then, you could easily go on Facebook groups and also share this kind of stuff. Maybe we're a bit too aggressive there. We got banned in a few places, but that's an American would say that's what you need to do. If you're not getting banned somewhere, you're not being aggressive enough. And while I don't really like that narrative, I'm not proud of that. I think there has to be some kind of aggression. And also, we actually did something which I found out later was illegal, so that's not so good. But we did, we scraped all the e-commerce stores in Denmark, and then we wrote them an email saying it's a free beta. I thought because it was free and there was no sales on part of that, we could do it. But technically, you're not supposed to email people cold. People do it all the time in Denmark, but it's actually illegal. So yeah, I'm not suggesting anyone do something illegal there, but we got like, I think, crazy conversion rate out of that. Like that was like, wow. So yeah, so just being very aggressive, like Reddit, Facebook, LinkedIn, groups, everywhere. Just I call it guerrilla marketing. And funny enough, it's actually what I started doing again now. And it's a bit weird to do that so late in stage in the company, but we needed a bit of a boost in the last couple of months in trials because the sales guys that we still have and our processes and how we do things have become so effective that the guys were like, we need even more leads now. And we do get quite a lot of leads. I said, okay, let me get back in the grind. So now I actually started contacting all of my LinkedIn connections, and it works as good as it ever did. Like this a little bit aggressive style, and just be nice while you do it. Like I don't do this follow up stuff. Like, some people, they go LinkedIn automation all the way. I hate that stuff. And, I'm not going to blame if someone does it, but it's not my style at least. But just doing it in a little bit funny way, like saying, hey, try my tool. I would love if you would try it. And always not go for the sell, but go for them just to give you feedback or try it. So I'm doing that with my network currently. I've reached out to 400 people out of the 5,000 I need to reach out to. And so far, the conversion rate is 10%. So 10% from I send a message to they actually want to test our tool. I don't know how many are going to buy in the end, but we're talking like really solid companies here, like not just some students or whatever. So yeah, aggression really works.
Yeah, awesome. And I like how you pointed it out, like aggressive doesn't mean you have to be an asshole. You have to be
No,
still nice about it.
yeah,
Like one company reached out to me, the founder of a company reached out to me, and I was like very, very skeptical about trying the tool, but then an American company, by the way.
yeah,
And then he was so persistent. Like, actually, every time he would message me, he would show me what I would get out of it, how it works. So, really, like, walking me through every step. And then at some point, I was so interested because it was such a good storytelling that now they're about to like actually launch it. I'm there, like they're onboarding me next week. I don't know how it happened.
I almost think I know the guy you're talking about, but okay, let's not.
Maybe. I
Yeah,
wouldn't be surprised.
no,
But you mentioned Reddit, and just, because we have quite a few companies in our portfolio, we also started doing Reddit, and I think it works like magic. It's not like huge conversion numbers, but it works. And at first, I think when it worked the first time, we were like, oh, okay. I like, how
yeah,
did that
Reddit is
work?
amazing because I also teach our clients through the tool and through webinars how to use Reddit as a lead, both lead and SEO booster. And I myself do it as well all the time. So what I do, I Google things like best SEO tools, and then I put Reddit at the end. Uh,
Hmm.
of the query, of the Google thing. You can type anything that's related to your industry. And then I just take the top 10 posts and I go in and I comment and I say, hey, maybe you should also check out this thing. Um, and yeah, it works. It works really well. I've gotten 5 customers out of it after posting just a couple of posts in 1 month. So for us,
Yeah.
that's very good ROI. So totally recommend that as well.
Do you use
aggressive.
any social yeah. Do you use any social listening tools like Sifton?
No, see, that's the thing. I very rarely use these kind of. I actually think Google is an amazing tool. You can Google all these things, and okay, I should be doing a bit more automation. Maybe I used to do a lot of scraping and automation, but I do use Expandy right now. I'm testing it on a trial. I think I will buy the Dutch
Hi,
tool.
Stefan.
Huh?
Hi, Stefan.
Yeah, yeah. I also wrote him within Expandy just to tell him, hey, it works. But I only use it right now for very simple things like just sending the message I already decided to send to 100 people and
Mm,
scheduling that, so I don't have to remember to do it every day. So it saves me like a couple of hours a week, and it's worth it. I'm always worried about like full automation because usually that's the overdone field where everyone is playing.
yeah.
You get a lot of email spam, you get a lot of LinkedIn spam, and as soon as you get too smart on the automation, people are going to start hating on you. And I don't want to be. Our brand is, we don't want to be hated.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. I really like that, just the whole narrative of this conversation is about, what the brand is and what you guys represent and what the culture is kind of within it. So, how did you yeah, basically, how did you get to it? Like, how did you know what exactly is going to be, that one thing that differentiates you guys? Like, you have the suit and you have, this kind of aggressive but still very nice approach to people, and you're super transparent on LinkedIn. So, how did you get to like this? I don't want to say strategy, but identity.
Oh yeah, but I was just born that way. I mean, that's yeah, but that's the answer, right? I haven't thought about any of this. Like when you say it now, it almost sounds like it's a plan, right? But I think maybe
Sometimes it
one
is.
benefit of being a founder, a CEO, is like, okay, you can just go with your gut, and as long as it's not totally wrong, then people will agree and follow. So if we want to use a very fancy term right now, founder mode, like just
Hmm.
push through with what you believe is right. So there you go. Yeah, there's no strategy. And
Right.
maybe there should be, but there is not.
Okay, or maybe there shouldn't. I mean, but yeah, one more thing that I wanted to ask you is, and again, that's something I heard you say on another interview, is that one of the strategies you actually used to grow Morningscore was SEO. And yeah, well, of course, it makes great sense, but SEO is not. It's not fast. It's not for quick wins. It's actually meticulous work. And yeah, how did you start? Because I think now the narrative is just, go to ChatGPT and write 100 million blog posts and just, make sure you fill your website and just it's all there.
Yeah.
Yeah, how was your approach? How
Well,
does it
first
work
of
now?
all, let's say you want to get quick wins with SEO. Let's say that would be your goal. You shouldn't write blog posts at all. You should start by working on product pages. So
Yeah.
things that people are actually looking to buy. I call that money keywords. So what you would be doing is like, let's say you guys, want to buy SaaS companies, then it should be SaaS, company buyer, like, and
Hmm.
then you could make a list of SaaS company buyers or whatever. Like, look for, we always say search intent in the Google industry, but basically just look for things people are searching for that you think will lead to a buy, or at least someone who's interested in something, and that's where you should put all your effort. And usually in most industries, you can get in the top 10 of Google, at least in your local country or in some countries, if you just do that and build a few simple links. And then so the other advice I would give is like, since SEO takes time, always try to, that's not a very nice expression, but kill two birds with one stone. How is the modern way to say that? But, be effective, like do two things at once. So the Reddit example is great. You get out there to actually get clients, but actually you build links and mentions to your site. So that's link building actually.
Yeah.
Same on YouTube. You can do YouTube comments, and you can do, a lot of things on YouTube that generates awareness of your brand, but at the same time it's link building. A lot of other examples out there. That's what I always do. Like when I do link building, I don't do it just for the link. I always want something out of it. I want traffic or I want clients. And if I have that mindset, I'm like, okay, I'm not wasting time. This is actually generating revenue tomorrow. Even if the big effect will come in 6 to 12 months from now, the short term effect will be clients. So, yeah, So those two strategies, like focus on money keywords, and when you do link building, focus on building your brand and getting clients.
All right. Okay.
And
So
of
what?
course, then you would ask, but how do I actually do? Well, inside our tool, we do have a lot of guides on exactly these kind of things. So yeah.
But thank you for the plug. All right, absolutely. But yeah, one more thing I wanted to ask you is, of course, like what works best now? Like, what is the biggest growth channel? Is it still SEO? Is it maybe personal brand kicks in? Like, what works?
Yeah. So this is a new discovery for me, and I would be so curious to hear what other people are seeing out there. But for me, the biggest disappointment in this year, or let's say the last couple of months, has been LinkedIn. In terms of that, you can post a lot, you can get 5, 10, 20,000 impressions on your post, and then you see one person sign up for a trial. I'm not even talking about like, you know, direct traffic from LinkedIn. I know that doesn't happen a lot, but even like trying to figure out how many people signups came out of this.
Hmm.
Like let's say you do a month of not posting versus posting, you can do several things to see the effect of it, and not much happens. And I'm not sitting here complaining. I'm just saying I think the most overrated tactic currently is posting on LinkedIn, especially people who post about stuff that like I do, like advice or sharing the journey. I think that stuff is great for building the brand long term, but it's actually even slower, like way slower than SEO. It's like a 5 year plan, not like tomorrow you're going to get leads. And I do know guys like Stefan that you mentioned before, Stefan Smolders. I think
Exactly.
he's really
Yeah.
good at tactics that can generate you leads right away. And also there's all this stuff where you leave a comment below and I'll send you this. Okay, if you do those kind of tactics on LinkedIn, I do understand that it will work for you. But my personal experience is that LinkedIn is a big disappointment in terms of like if you think you're going to get clients out of it. To be fair, I never thought that, but a lot of people are saying that lately. Oh, you need to just post, 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 and I'm like, that's I don't see any effect of it. Versus if I go on Reddit, like you mentioned before, and I publish or I debate or I talk with people, that turns into signups. Or even Facebook groups are still working, and SEO is working like a charm. We get 20 customers a month out of it, and we it's just on autopilot. Of course, we still improve it, so but it's a really good ROI. It's amazing. What else works right now? Google Ads works still. I do think social media advertising works still quite well because again, you're going for the sale. But maybe yeah, the last thing that really works is like direct messaging. It's more aggressive, but it seems like there's so much noise on LinkedIn now, and people are getting immune to all the posts in some way, or at least taking action from the post. They do read the post, but they don't take any action because they don't want to leave there scrolling. But then if you write them a personal message saying, "Hey, I would love you to test our tool," it's like, "Oh, there's something else going on here. Let me see what that is." And that's probably not going to work in 2 years from now, but right now it seems to be still working very well. So that's
Yeah.
my 2 cents on what's working right now.
Cool. All right. Well, just to the point of LinkedIn, I I kind of I partially agree with that because I think, what, like 5, 6 years ago, LinkedIn was just filled with like sales agents, and everyone was hungry and they were trying to like get you. You would get like 1,000 messages that looked exactly the same a day. And everyone was so pissed. And now people are like, oh, but it's so nice. It's really about like relationship building and brand awareness and stuff. And they're like, yeah, but it just basically just like the sales pitch gets so much more sophisticated, but it's still a sales pitch, guys.
Yeah,
So
and I think people are exactly what you're saying. People are starting to see that, and then they get immune to it.
yeah.
And for example, I can also say because in 2018 I started being really active on LinkedIn, and I did actually post at one point where I compared to different years what changed. And I do remember in 2018, if you did video, no one did video back then, but it was super effective. I got like 20,000 video views on some of my stuff. And it was like flooding in with signups because people
Mhm.
weren't used to it. And people were like, oh, here's a guy doing video and doing a different thing. But now, as I try to be different, like I love to be different, like I like to go against the flow. But it's really hard on LinkedIn because I feel like everything is either already done or people have skepticism. Why is he like not right now? I'm running this like I call Exploring Planet Amsterdam video series on LinkedIn.
I enjoy those.
Yeah, thanks. I didn't know you so. But I almost feel like that's the extreme I have to go to. So just for whoever is listening, like what I do is I just film myself what I'm doing here in Amsterdam as I set up the base here, our office and everything. and like exploring that in a funny way where I use some of our spacesuit and yeah, whatever. And I thought, okay, this is fresh. But even that people get immune to because they're like, oh, where's the sales pitch? No, there's no sales pitch.
Yeah.
But to be fair, then not a lot of people comment on those videos or, but then afterwards I get a lot of DMs from people saying like, oh yeah, it's cool to follow your stuff in Amsterdam. So yeah, so maybe it does work. I don't know. It's
It
just
is. It is. I've never been to Amsterdam, so I started watching it. I'm like, oh man, next year I'm definitely going to saas because like I love it. What's going on?
yeah.
So yeah, thanks for doing that. It's really, yeah, like you said, it's it's weird in a good way that like kind of LinkedIn is everything. There is so much talk about like, oh, you always have to post value, and like you should never, what is it, like downgrade, if it has no value, you don't post on LinkedIn. I think it's bullshit. Like if you just, well, first of all, it's your social media, who cares, right?
Yeah.
Second, it just, yeah, like you said, it's refreshing to see something really new. So thank you for doing this, by the
Thank
way.
you. I'm trying, but it's getting hard. I mean, to be fair, there's the quality of LinkedIn content is high. There's a lot of people doing
Yeah.
cool stuff, and a lot more people are doing stuff. So I do also think, you know, that channel is hard if you want to have success on LinkedIn or grow your business through LinkedIn. It's not going to be that easy. I mean, the direct messages to your network and being personal in those direct messages. If you're selling something that has a lot of value, then you should definitely be personal. That's probably still a game to play, but yeah, but I do feel in general that we are in a bit of, maybe because the SaaS economy is also a bit tough, that
Mm.
everyone is like struggling to find that golden channel where it's just easy. But I don't think it does exist right now. Um,
Yeah. All right. Well, I just have a couple more questions for you. And the first one, they're the usual here. First one is, what is so far, I mean, almost 7 years you're building Morningscore, right?
6 years.
Uh, yeah. What's so far the biggest win and biggest failure or the biggest challenge you ever encountered?
Yeah. So, what was the biggest win? Oh, it's probably getting some huge partners on board, but I can't take any credit for that. That's my partner Eric Johnson, who used to do that with Spotify as well. He's a Swedish guy. He's crazy, and he's just good at getting in the door and talking to the top of the top. So right now we are partnering with some huge telecom companies, Fiverr, yeah, a lot of Alfa Laval in Sweden, one of the biggest companies in Europe. I mean, just these huge companies who take interest in Morningscore because he kicks in the door and he's good at making it a win-win partnership. So that's a big win. Also, yeah, I don't really have these like uh, a lot of these like huge milestones where it was like just big wins. But okay, one more. It's a very old one, but getting soft money from the if you're in Europe, soft money is still a thing. So we got like I think 100,000 euros in soft money. That was a good thing for us in the beginning, and it was relatively easy to do. So we just you every country has their own soft money thing, but it's the European Union who eventually pays it out. So that was a big win to get all that cash. Yeah, and then the beta, like I described before, was a big win. How we managed that, and maybe a big win right now is me going on LinkedIn again and doing good old guerrilla tactics and seeing it work like a charm. That's a big win. Yes, but honestly, we're winning and losing all the time. So maybe some losing
Yeah.
is yeah something I mentioned on some other podcasts, but it's just an important one. Like when we had that beta and we were about to launch, I looked at our bank account and we were about to run dry. So and I knew the product was not ready, like not at all. But I decided we had to launch because we were running out of money. So we launched a bad product and we killed a huge amount of hype by doing that. When you have all these people talking to you on your internal Facebook group or whatever, like there's so much hype as you're in the beta, and then the next day you go live and it's just silent, then you know you screwed up. It was a terrible feeling. And what I learned from that was I should just have called my investor and told him I need a few more months of runway, and he would happily have put that money in. I had sometimes a bit autistic brain, so I was like, no, money goes to here, and therefore I need to find an option instead of just asking for more money. So it was so dumb and so simple that I should just have called and said, hey, we need to change the plan. But I'm like, the plan is this, so I have to fulfill the plan. Cost us so much. I don't want to think about the huge pain that actually caused. We almost killed the business via that, because
Oh
it was
wow.
like you launch and then you see out of 4,000 people we got 20 customers. So it's like, okay, that's a very bad conversion rate, and you're like, okay, this we're not going to survive. But then we worked really hard on the product, fixed everything, and we turned it around. But yeah, we if I would ever start a business again, I would really learn from that and use the beta phase to the best way possible, because you
Yeah.
don't get to do that twice. So yeah, that was a big bummer. And then the sales led, when you're selling a product that's so cheap as ours, it's also a big learning. And the last one, which maybe you heard from the other podcast, is like trust my own instinct and don't take so much advice from all these people that you keep meeting, and everyone wants to tell you you're doing it wrong and you should be doing it different. And just asking, have you done what I've done? Have you been in the industry I've been in? Have you sold at the price range I've sold at? If you haven't, then maybe I shouldn't take your advice,
Yeah.
because it sounds super arrogant, and I don't know how to escape that. But if I just had followed my own gut instinct a bit more along the way, I think we would have saved ourselves a lot of trouble. Most of the bad decisions have come from not believing in my own gut. The self-esteem issue again. And it sounds super arrogant. I don't know what to say, but I believe it's true. Like, oh, if I just followed my own voice, then we would have been fine. But it honestly feels like that. And I also make a lot of mistakes, of course. I make tons of mistakes all the time,
Yeah.
but they're mine. And
Yeah,
at least,
yeah. You would
yeah,
have owned it, right? It
yeah,
wouldn't be like, hey, I listened to this guy and now that
yeah,
happened.
yeah. So those were
Interesting.
my big failures, I would say.
All right, thanks for sharing. So the last question is about hack, right? If there is something that works like magic, but maybe is a bit unconventional, it can be anything related to business or, listening to your gut, mental health, culture, whatever.
Ha, maybe meditation. I'm like a farmer's son, so I don't believe in all this voodoo stuff. But like meditation is something I picked up because I actually been dealing with what I think is chronic stress, like so many other founders. And since I started doing that, my mind is a lot calmer. And honestly, it takes 2 minutes, 3 times per day, just like breathing slowly and doing that resets my brain. Yeah, and then it makes me more productive and less stressed. So what's not to like? And if it's like the ROI on meditation is insane. So that's a hack. And if we're talking like more business and growth, yeah, be aggressive. Like that's something I had it in me in the beginning because I had to be aggressive, and then I lost it. And I do think, like, I see, I like to see patterns, and this aggressive pattern. I look at all these successful people around me. Actually, I looked at some of the most successful people in my LinkedIn network. Most of them have actually reached out to me via DM to share some generic stuff or whatever or something. And I was like, oh goddamn, I thought they were too busy to do that. Even if they use an automation tool, I would be like, I thought they have so much success that they wouldn't need to do that. But actually, they're so successful because they're so aggressive. And I don't, as I said before, it can be in a nice way. Some of them do it in a very nice way. I have a very specific guy in my mind right now. He's very successful and he's very aggressive in a very nice way.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So
think that's
be
a good hack.
aggressive. It's like a hack. And especially in Europe, we're so bad at being aggressive. And maybe it's annoying, but we have to do it.
It works. Yeah, as long as it works. Cool. Thank you. That constitutes as a hack. So thank you for sharing this and for sharing the story. I mean, it's amazing. Like I'm telling you seriously, when I told everyone I'm getting you on the podcast, they are like, "Yes, the guy in the spacesuit,
I'm
finally."
so sorry that I didn't wear it. I should, but I don't know how much goes on video. I could wear it, but it's just here. This goddamn
Next
shit.
time, see now we have to do it again.
Okay.
So, but yeah, thanks so much for your time. And yeah, like I said, happy to follow the journey. And yeah, let's do it again sometime.
And thanks, Anna, for this. I think it's one of the best podcasts. I mean, you really ask
Oh,
good questions. I actually thought
thanks.
of that when I saw some of your episodes. Like, wow, she really gets it. So I'm really happy to be on this
Oh,
podcast.
thanks. Thanks. That made my day. Well, thank you so much and take
Yeah.
care.